Hey guys, it's Godbars here, the self-proclaimed hip-hop historian, and this is the 343rd episode of my series, where I grab a vinyl from my collection, talk about why I love it, what influence it has, and what its place is in the grand scheme of hip-hop. So it's been a pretty good while now since I last touched on Geto Boys and their rich lineage, but I did discuss core member Scarface in my last set of 90s classics, when I covered arguably his best solo album, 1994's The Diary, and in my book, the only other solo LP in Face's discography that can rival that one is 2002's The Fix, which I also happen to talk about on the page, and I'll leave a link for those reviews down below in the description, as well as my previous videos for Geto Boys as a trio, which include 1991's We Can't Be Stopped and 1996's The Resurrection. I highly recommend checking some of those out if you haven't seen them, since I give a bit more of a deep dive on Scarface, Willie D, and Bushwick Bill, as well as their storied discography and various roster changes. The interesting thing about the album we are covering today, 1993's Till Death Do Us Part, is it landed right in between the two other Geto Boys projects I just mentioned. And the reason that's especially relevant is because prior to this LP, Willie D would end up departing from the trio to briefly focus more on his solo discography, and while he ultimately would end up returning for 96's The Resurrection, just a few years later, this leave of absence would once again leave a hole in the Geto Boys roster, which was nothing new to the group by this point, as lineup changes were virtually constant in the earlier days of the act's existence, and this time they got right on finding a replacement, which again ultimately may have only ended up lasting for one project. But personally, I've always found the addition of Big Mike on this thing extremely welcome, as he fits right in vocally and stylistically next to Face and Bill. Plus, his ability to just step in and hold his own amongst these titans who already had a working formula is super commendable, because while Mike was already a very talented MC, who had been active in the Houston Sir Rap-A-Lot circles, he still basically had to play catch-up with the two main members, and honestly, he ended up with most of the weight put on his shoulders in a way, because when you think about it, Big Mike was placed in a pretty precarious situation, as almost any big Geto Boys fan who was used to the original lineup would likely blame this new member if the first album with their involvement took a drop in quality. I'm not too sure what the common consensus was when this thing initially dropped, and for whatever reason, I don't feel like I see it brought up nearly as often as some of the other releases in their discography. But in my opinion, it deserves to be talked about a lot more, as it provides a pretty unique experience for their output. Sonically, the masterpiece that preceded this one is relatively much more rugged and bare bones, most likely since the 90s was just rolling around when it was conceived. But then on the other end of the spectrum, the album that followed Till Death Do Us Part is more polished and clean, while of course still having those dark, almost horrorcore elements. And that leaves this thing as sort of a hybrid between the two in the best way possible. I wouldn't say the sound and aesthetic here is especially rich or grand, but it feels marginally more modern than We Can't Be Stopped, with especially aggressive, in-your-face raps and instrumentals that clearly showed growth and improvement. And these three veteran MCs really give us all we could ask for in this thing, from less serious yet conceptual moments like Serial Killer, which sounds like a predecessor to the type of reference-heavy tracks we would go on to hear Ghostface kill a pen, to absolutely stellar posse cuts like Bring It On, where it's just a lyrical slaughterfest over a top-tier loop. While I don't often do this, today I actually wanted to share some lyrics from a couple of the featured artists on this massive group cut, because I've obviously shared multiple verses from both Bushwick Bill and Scarface in the past, and I thought it might be cool to give a bit of a spotlight to more underground rappers who probably won't ever get a full-length review on the page. So with that being said, I'm going to use the first couple of MCs who show up on this track. As to be frank, they've always had my favorite parts on the whole thing. I just love the contrast of their voices and the energy both features bring. Starting us off is Too Low, who I'm not too familiar with, but he sounds like he couldn't have been older than 12 or 13 when recording this verse, maybe even younger. Though you probably wouldn't have ascertained that from his mature bars as he comes in rapping, "Cover your dome or feel a motherfucking Glock. The rugged child is in the house, I'm letting off shots. Biggity bang, hit the motherfucking deck. I'm down on this track and I'm about to get wreck. I'm coming like a hustler, never coming buster. Blasting on you hoes, scream and die, motherfucker. Never showing mercy cause that shit is for the weak. I rhyme with my Glock and knock a rapper off his feet. A young man, shorts as I figure, step up with that bullshit, I'ma greet you with this trigger. Blasting on you hoes and let you know how it feels. Bucking with the 5th ward'll get your motherfucking dome peeled, motherfucker bring it on." Then Seagram takes the mic and delivers probably my favorite verse on this entire posse cut, where he swoops right in with, "It's the Siegster, the major leaguester, bitch deceiver, rapper life reliever, Oakland hustler, never been a busta. Make way for the 9 tray, I'm coming, motherfucker. Straight from the 6-9, the final line village. Doing more damage than an Exxon spillage. Coward, and that's that. I'm known to pack a gat and put heads on flat. No rehabilitating my trigger. Take a out the ghetto, but you can't take the ghetto out the... Ain't nothing changed since the 70s. I'm hellbound, homie, my life ain't never been heavenly. Never slippin', punk, no, you know I don't lag. Game tight, replace a man's Nikes with a toe tag. His Zoom, his ass, his Zigga, I'm the founder. Stacking up bodies like Jeffrey Dahmer. Oh, here comes the flow, watch me as I tiptoe to a rapper's window with my M60. Putting motherfuckers out their misery and watching the murders reenacted on Unsolved Mysteries. Trick, coward, lame pussy ass. 6 feet deep is where you sleep with the worms and the maggots. People can't harm me, rap a lot army. Coming like Desert Storm, you've been warned. But if you still want some, bring it on. While Rap-A-Lot Records founder Jay Prince features on the intro and outro here, pretty much all of the other guest appearances come through the track Bring It On, which outside of Too Low and Seagram, includes Too Much Trouble, 5th Ward Boys, Odd Squad, Gangsta NIP, DMG, Big Mello, and Mr. 3-2, who does make one other appearance on the album. When it comes to my honorable mentions for this one, I want to recommend songs like GETO, Crooked Officer, No Nuts, No Glory, Raise Up, Murder After Midnight, This Dick's For You, and Street Life. Then for my overall top 3, I should probably leave out the tracks I already mentioned like Bring It On and Serial Killer, and instead name my favorites as 6 Feet Deep, Murder Avenue, and Straight Gangstaism. Thank you for watching my 343rd video. Next time, we are returning to a very enigmatic late legend to cover one of the most overdue projects yet to be on the page. So tune in for that, and if you enjoyed, be sure to like, subscribe, and let me know what moments you found the most captivating off this piece of Southern treasure. Don't forget to have a great day, and I'll see you next time, okay? Alright.